Catherine Austin Fitz of the Solari Report and Solari.com, the president of Solari.com. Catherine Austin Fitz, thank you for joining us today.
Here's what we know. So we know that the U.S. government has been run as criminal enterprise from a financial standpoint. So under the Appropriations Clause of Article 1 of the Constitution and the financial management laws, the U.S. government, the executive branch, is required not to spend money unless it's been envisioned in an appropriation and made transparent. Now, there have been some exceptions. You have intelligence agency spending that is transparent, supposedly, to the appropriate committees, but not fully transparent to the citizens for reasons of national security. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about an amount that is many multiples of the budget. So, for example, there's $20 trillion of undocumentable adjustments at DOD since 1998. That is almost 3 times the DOD budget for the entire period, 1998 to 2015. Dr. Skidmore became interested in this because he heard me give an interview saying that in 2015, there was $6.5 trillion of undocumentable adjustments at the Department of Defense. And he assumed that I was wrong, that it couldn't be possible that the Department of Defense would have transactions that couldn't be proved to be legal of 10 times their total budget. So he dug in and discovered, yes, I was correct. And that is when he very nobly offered to have some of his graduate students work with him to dig out and check every document between 1998, when this phenomena started, and 2015. And we agreed we would put them all up on the website. I'm an investment banker. I'm an investment advisor. I'm not a scholar. And so having Dr. Skidmore and his graduate students go through this independently and review, authenticate, confirm, and do a much more thorough job than I've ever done is really very gratifying. I'm extremely appreciative of having that kind of scholarship available. And so we were delighted to be able to just put it all up on the website. And of course, covering it is a report that Dr. wrote about the undocumentable adjustments when we were at, I think, 18 or 19 trillion. So he's found several trillion more since that time. And so the report has a slightly lower number. That's the difference. But we plan on just continuing to do this. Now, this is 2 of what used to be the 21 covered agencies. We have not gone through the other 19 agencies. I would expect, because of the housing bubble and sort of the traditional black budget fraud at HUD, that HUD and DOD would be the worst. But here's the thing. If the federal government has refused to produce audited financial statements as required by law and has refused to comply with the financial laws, whether Constitution or the Financial Management Acts, since 1998, there's no telling of how bad it is. As you know, I was working with a reporter on a very big story coming in. It was going to be published on September 15th, 2001. And then Donald Rumsfeld did a basic modified hangout saying there was 2.3 trillion. At that point, there was 4 trillion missing. He said 2.3 trillion. And then 9/11 happened, and no one cared about this for a long, long time. Now, what you saw during 9/11 was a lot of the documents, including one of the investigations into the missing money, destroyed, burnt, and blown up. People say to me, how can a government spend 10 times the money that comes in one year? The reality is, with securities fraud and all the different credit and insurance programs like you have at HUD, you absolutely can do it. But it requires securities fraud, which is why having Solomon Brothers come down and some of Cantor Fitzgerald and some of the other government and mortgage dealers come down, and the different SEC and FBI investigations into that securities fraud were really triggered by the fact that we issued trillions in fraudulent securities to finance what I call the financial coup d'etat. Let me step back and just tell you one story that I want you to know to get some perspective. The reason why I started to look at this, because I've been reporting on this issue since 1998. I was part of an effort working with the pension funds in 1997 to try and show them how we could re-engineer government spending and credit and resources in this country to get a positive return on investment and do it in a way that would make sure the pension funds could fund their liabilities. That was very important to us, Greg. You had the boomers coming up, you had a bulge, and you really had to get excellent performance on the pension funds. I made a presentation to a group of fabulous pension fund leaders on how we could do that. We had a plan, and you really could do that. And the president of CalPERS was there. It was the largest pension fund in the country. And he froze and said, "You don't understand. It's too late. They've given up on the country. They're moving all the money out starting in the fall." I thought that fall was the beginning of fiscal 1998. The federal fiscal year, starts in October 1. I thought he meant, we're adjusting the allocations and we're going to shift all the money legally into investing in the emerging markets as part of globalization. What I didn't realize was starting in October 1, 1997, he started to go missing at HUD. All these money managers suddenly getting windfall amounts of capital, and you were saying, how did they raise that infinite amount of money? And you thought, where does that money come from? I came to believe, for example, that the money going missing from HUD was being laundered out through Enron, which is how I got so involved in covering the Enron fraud. So you had this bulge of money showing up mysteriously at all these different places, and money managers, we discovered, because we were watching, that $59 billion had gone missing. I think it was fiscal 99. $17 billion had gone missing in the opening accounts. It was 98 or 99. So you had a total of $70 billion, which for HUD was a fantastic amount of money. Interested in, and I couldn't get anybody interested. They were too embroiled in navy blue dresses and philosophy that's being promoted. Right. If you look at how the money works, this is the big secret. Right now, nothing works because the U.S. government, the federal money in every neighborhood, which is a very high portion in every one of 3,100 counties, has a deeply negative return on investment. If you turn that to a positive return on investment, there's plenty of money. And if you stop stealing if you steal a couple $1 trillion a year, there's no money. But if you steal several trillion, there's no money. But if you turn the government investment from a negative to a positive, and then you and Ann Wainson has done a great job of documenting that plan. If you want to see how it worked in Russia, I think 10 to 25 million people died. They really went through a significant die-off as a result of the implosion of the economy. So again, because the money is run on such a negative return on it. These people have developed an incredible hubris as a result of their ability to use these technologies, whether it's weaponry or entrainment or all these other things, to get their way. And it's made them stupid. The leadership has inadvertently gotten debased, and we've gotten debased, but people are waking up. And here's the magic trick about all this. I want to tell you two things if you get into the mapping out the financial ecosystems. One, Greg, it doesn't take everybody to change this. All you need is 5 or 10% of the population to completely turn this around. It doesn't take everybody, and that's one of the things that's got them so scared. That's number one. If you put your money in a mutual fund, and every year it goes down because some guys are stealing money out the back door and not paying attention and running it professionally, it doesn't matter how much more money you put in it. It's never going to work. You got to shut off the drain. Imagine a dairy farmer who's got a hole in his can. The solution is not to go get more milk. The solution is not to shoot the farmer. The solution is not to shoot the cow. The solution is get a can that doesn't have a hole in the bottom. So the people who run things don't like to use physical violence to get their way because physical violence is too noticeable. They like to use entrainment technology and subliminal program. They like to use fake news. They like to use legal and financial mechanisms, lawsuits, hassle. They like to hack your systems. And anytime they can deliver control invisibly, they like to do it. They're very, very clever. But the reality is ultimately this is all the 5 to 10% asserting another big secret here is the world is full of fabulous, professional, competent, capable reporters like you fabulous. Going to have implications to the war clauses because the money is intimately tied up with doing illegal wars all over the world. That is what has to happen. But rest assured, we literally, the speed at which this could turn around, if you said to all the Bill Binnies and Tom Drakes and Kirk Weebies of the world, just go in and show us how to fix it, you'd be amazed at the speed that it could be fixed. Because we don't have to bank at JP Morgan Chase or Citibank, and we don't have to watch any of those people. So I don't need to. Favorite quotes is a British intelligence officer once said, Washington didn't defeat us, he out-intelligenced us, which means Washington had a better intelligence operation. And that's why it's so important that we do the Solari report or USA Watchdog. What people need, they need to get a better map. They need to get superior intelligence. And how do you turn around and defeat all the money in the planet? By getting superior intelligence. Washington did it, we can do it too.
Mine. But anyway, thanks for coming on USA. Enforce the Constitution is your message. Thank you for joining us on USAWatchdog.com.
Thanks, Greg. Always a pleasure.